morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So my name is Brittany Hinda. I teach at Bowie High School. It's the suburbs outside of D.C. This is my 12th year teaching. I teach microbiology, anatomy, and physiology, and a new course, biogeochemical systems. So I was fortunate enough to work in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology at University of Maryland School of Medicine. And the key factors for this research was the role of autoimmunity and immune regulation. So there were three main aims in this lab with several components and several people working on the research. Aim one was factors influencing the target organ, specifically the joint, and its susceptibility in autoimmune arthritis. So some of the techniques that we dealt with histological examination, looking at pannus formation, whether there was bone degradation, whether there was synovial areas of degradation. We actually used the rat adjuvant arthritis model compared to the mice model because there's more of a genetic susceptibility with the rat arthritis model, which is very similar to what happens with humans with rheumatoid arthritis. We also were able to use the resolve microscope with echo-revolve microscopy, really being able to use that new technology to really look at the histological features. For aim two, the inflamed joint homing peptides for targeted drug delivery. So the key features for this, we're looking at biomarkers, seeing if there were any T-cell reduction to the areas of inflammation, and using joint homing peptides for that. Techniques included immunofluorescence. And then the last aim while I was there doing research was the role of some natural products. You have some drugs out there could be a little bit more having adverse effects. So trying to see if you have some natural-based models that will inhibit pro-inflammatory cytokines. So summary of the experience and facets of the curriculum. So in the process of developing my curriculum for the students, I will have 9 lessons. One of the lessons that we're going to deal with today dealt with lesson 5, where we'll actually be modeling of joints, an activity to see which cells are really involved in rheumatoid arthritis. This is about a 2 to 3 week module, starting with lectures on innate immunity and adaptive immunity, getting a background on that. Where they'll have an antibody antigen activity where they'll just familiarize themselves with those things. And then familiarizing themselves with different things in the lab, such as assays, dilution ratios. Lesson 3 will really have them look at microscopy and histological examination so they can start to see key features that are important to that. Other assays would include diagnostic immunology so they can get a feel for biomarkers. Lesson 5, dealing with immunity, and then also the imperfect storm. So what is really going on with cells when they infiltrate an area. Lesson 6 will be the activity that we do today. Lesson 7, getting their students ready for college. So how can this relate to some passages they may see on the SAT or the ACT? Lesson 8, having them debate on issues pertaining to immunity. And then lesson 9 will be a wrap-up of public speaking and oral defense. So in the process of developing my curriculum now, it'll be entitled A Diverse Representation of the Immune Processes in Autoimmunity. So after the students really get a background in immunology, they'll see how this prepares them for really understanding autoimmunity. So we have to start with basics in terms of what innate immunity is, then adaptive immunity, and then we really go into depth with autoimmunity. So some of the first lectures would include really recognizing the difference between specificity, non-specificity, innate ability, adaptive immunity, and then really towards the middle, talking about histological examples where the students really get to understand some of the imaging, and then they will really have background in that. So they'll recognize what key cells are involved. So getting that background initially, chondrocytes, fibroblasts, the students will really have an understanding and apply what they've learned from the beginning units. So when we move on later on today, you will be modeling, if you come to the table, we'll model rheumatoid arthritis, and you will see which cells have been infiltrated in the areas. And you will also be able to compare this to a normal joint. This is very important in terms of field of education because of body kinesthetic learners. Students need to get up, move around, so they need to really be able to apply it. Hopefully this opens pathways for interest for the students in medicine and research, how they can apply to different fields, how it relates to immunology, pathology. So they will see the pathophysiology of histology slides. They'll be able to see collagen-induced arthritis and the model and be able to bring everything together.